If you're trying to play music for 4 or 5 people, you would use a speaker like this. But if that number increases to 40 or 50 people, then you would need something like this. This is the Oraimo SpaceBox Pro. It's the most powerful speaker Oraimo has ever made. But is it any good? Let's find out. Okay, so let's start with what comes in the box. The first thing you'd see is the speaker, nicely wrapped and protected. Next, you'd see a strap, which you can use to carry the speaker around. Then there's the welcome guide that no one really reads. And lastly, a USB-C to USB-C cable for charging. So we get basically everything we'll need to start using this speaker. That's nice. Taking a look around the speaker, you'd notice that there are 7 buttons on the top of the speaker. There's the power button, the Bluetooth button, the buttons for your music controls, the light show switch button, I'll explain that in a bit, and then the bass button. I'll also explain that in a bit. Just in front of the buttons is where the charging indicator is. It's the thing that lets you know how much battery you have left. At the back of the speaker, where you see SpaceBox Pro, is where you find your ports. There's a mic port, an aux port, a port for microSD cards, a USB-A out port, and then a USB-C in port. So that's it for ports and buttons. Now let's talk about the actual speaker. We'll start with the design. Even though design isn't that important when choosing a speaker, it would still be nice if your speaker looked good. The SpaceBox Pro, I think, looks good. When it's turned off, it has this, futuristic, cool, spacey vibe to it. And then when you turn it on, you see this, the infinite lights. I'm guessing they're calling it infinite because it looks like the infinity sign, or maybe because the lights can be any color, like an infinite amount of colors. I don't know. The point is, the lights are cool. I like how they adapt to the music being played. And yeah, I also like that they're quite customizable. You can change the light effects as well as the colors of the lights in the Oraimo Sound app. And then if you feel like you don't want the lights, you can turn them off as well. You can do that in the app or by holding the light show switch button for 2 seconds. So the speaker looks good, right? But does it sound good? How's its sound quality? Remember that small speaker I showed you in the beginning of the video? Yeah, well, that's the Oraimo SpaceBox. It's an 8-watt speaker. The SpaceBox Pro, the bigger one, is an 80-watt speaker. Literally 10 times more watts. Is that a big deal? Why is that a big deal? What does watts in speakers mean? Well, put simply, a speaker's wattage refers to its power handling capabilities. The higher the wattage, the more powerful the speaker is. Also, the louder the speaker is. The SpaceBox Pro also has a 4-inch subwoofer. The subwoofer is a part of the speaker that handles bass. There are also 2 2-inch tweeters and then 2 3-inch passive radiators. The tweeters handle high-frequency sound, or the treble, while the passive radiators basically help enhance a speaker's bass. So all of these components are inside this speaker, and theoretically, that should equal really good immersive sound quality. But does it? Well, let's test it out.
Invisible Woman, Human Torch.
I love you, Johnny!
And The Thing.
Hey, what time is it? Say the date.
That's not really something I say.
It's clobbering time!
So I think we can all agree that it's really loud and also quite rich. Another thing we need to mention is that in addition to the physical components we've talked about, this speaker also comes with dual advanced digital audio amplifier chips and Oraimo's heavy bass technology. This speaker can have even more bass by pressing that bass button or by turning on the heavy bass mode in the Oraimo Sound app. Very clearly, this is a speaker you could place in a room or even outdoors with 40 or 50 people, and everyone would still hear the music. It's that loud. Battery life is another really important thing to consider when buying a speaker. The SpaceBox Pro has a 5000 mAh battery, and Oraimo says you can expect about 20 hours of music playtime. but that's with the lights turned off. Oraimo also says you can get even more playtime, up to 27 hours, if you turn on the playtime boost mode. You can turn it on in the Oraimo sound app. But I do think 20 hours is plenty enough for most people. I don't know about you guys, but at most I'll listen to music for 7 hours at a stretch. So 20 hours is pretty good. Charging is also decently good. This supports 35 watts of wired charging. That's about 0 to 100% in roughly 2 hours. So you charge for 2 hours and it lasts for roughly 20 hours. That's pretty good. The SpaceBox Pro also doubles as a power bank. That USB-A output port is what you'd use to charge your phone or other gadgets at 10 watts. Okay, now I want to talk about extra features we get with the SpaceBox Pro. The first feature is something called karaoke effect. I wasn't able to test this feature, unfortunately, because to use this feature, you need a wired microphone, and I don't have one. If I did, I would simply plug it in through the mic in port, then in the app, turn on this toggle. Once that's done, I'll now be able to adjust the bars below to adjust the karaoke effect. You can reduce the bass, the treble, the volume, the reverb. I don't expect it to be exactly like karaoke, but I imagine the experience would be quite similar. This is a feature that is actually unique to the SpaceBox Pro. I don't think I've seen any other speakers come with a mic in port. So yeah, I think it's a cool, unique feature. The next feature I want to talk about isn't exactly unique, but it is cool. You can get 2 of these speakers, connect them together, and you'd get stereo sound and up to 160 watt combined output. There are about 4 ways to play music with the speaker. You could use Bluetooth, we all know how that works. You can also use an aux cable. You plug one end to your phone and then the other end to the aux port on the speaker. And then if you want to play music without a phone, you could use a micro SD card or a USB drive. You just plug them to their respective ports on the speaker. It's really nice that you have so many options. The SpaceBox Pro also has an inbuilt mic. If you're listening to music and a call comes in, you can choose to pick it without disconnecting. We've talked about the Oraimo Sound app multiple times in this video. It's what allows you to customize the infinite lights. It's also what allows you to turn on and adjust the karaoke effect. But what we haven't mentioned is that this app gives you access to the equalizer. There are 3 presets you can choose from, and then you can go further and create your own preset. I wouldn't recommend that, so I would suggest you just stick with the default, but it is still nice that you have options. So if you end up buying this speaker, I highly recommend you download this app because with it, you get access to more features. The SpaceBox Pro is also IPX4 rated. That means it would survive heavy perspiration and water splashes from any direction. The last thing to talk about would be pricing. The SpaceBox Pro currently costs 127,000 naira. I think for the features you're getting, that's a really good price. I looked up the price of the JBL Extreme 4. It's a 100 watt speaker when plugged in and a 70 watt speaker when unplugged. That speaker costs 450k. Now I don't have it with me to do like a side-by-side comparison, but I can imagine that the JBL would be better, but not 300k better. I think the SpaceBox Pro would be great for those who want an experience similar to the JBL Extreme 4 for less money. And then to answer the question I asked in the intro, is it any good? I would say yes, it's quite good. I think it's priced really well. I think its sound quality is quite impressive. And I also think it comes with a couple cool features. Now, I would also say that it's not for everyone. Like some people would be okay with a speaker like this. But if you want something even louder, even more powerful, this is great for you. But those are just my own thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this speaker down in the comments. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you when you see me.